everybody, and happy Monday. You know what time it is, so if you haven't already, go grab your favorite cup of hot cocoa, a few of your favorite cookies, pull up a chair, and sit and chat with me a while in today's episode of Cocoa and Cookies. As you can see, I am using one of my favorite mugs from the Dollar Tree, these big old clear ones. I saw them again recently in another store, so in some stores those are still available in case you are interested in getting me some of those. And I'm actually trying a new hot cocoa today. This one here has just a hint of cinnamon in it, and I haven't decided if I like that or not. I've never tried a hot chocolate that had cinnamon in it before, so I thought, well, why not give it a try? And I don't know, it's pretty interesting. I think maybe once I get about halfway through this cup, I can determine if I like it or not. How about you guys? Comment below and let me know what kind of hot chocolate that you are drinking or what brands are your best. I've always just really kind of enjoyed the Swiss Miss if I wasn't making it homemade. Of course, nothing beats homemade hot cocoa on the stove. But as far as a store-bought kind of instant type of hot cocoa, we always just buy the Swiss Miss. And of course you have to get the ones with marshmallows, because what's hot cocoa without marshmallows? So I haven't really ever ventured out to try other brands of that. So you guys let me know, what's some of your favorite brands of the hot cocoa? What do you like to drink? Or do you just make it the old-fashioned way right on the stove with cocoa powder, milk, a touch of sugar, and a little bit of vanilla? You guys tell me what you like. I do have my cookie here, and I know every week I put the cookies out on the plate and then I just get to talking and rambling and never get to eat my cookies. So if you guys have your cookies out, feel free to just go ahead and munch on away. Last week I left mine out so long because the video was so long, I think like 25 minutes or something that I kept you guys. The cookies actually went stale, so by the time the video was over, they weren't even fitting to eat. So I don't know if I'll make it to this cookie or not. This one that I got today, they're actually on sale at Publix right now. They are from Nabisco, and this is the white fudge chocolate chunk or something like that. They're actually very, very good, very tasty. But I kind of feel so rude to chew with you guys out there and chewing on camera, and then there's like this awkward silence. So anyway, you guys go ahead and eat your cookies and munch along with me. I kind of was torn today between two different things that were on my mind. Obviously, there's been a lot that's happened over the weekend. We were gone to a conference. Those of you who watched the videos over the weekend know that we were out of town over in Daytona Beach and had a wonderful time over there. It was actually a youth conference for teenagers throughout our state. Some of our churches gathered together, and there were about 3,000, a little more than 3,000 kids that were there, and it was loud, it was exciting, it was hectic, but it was a lot of fun, and our kids had a great time. So it was nice to get away, to be over there. And for those of you who've been concerned, I did want to give you just a little bit of update on my shoulder. Some of you had followed along with us through Vlogtober, and I took you to the doctor with me one of the days and had told you guys that I was having some pain. They still are not even sure what has caused the pain up in my shoulder area. And it's been progressively getting better. I know some of you were very worried about me last week when you guys saw that I was painting the bedroom. And I did take it easy with that. My husband had done all the painting up on the ceiling. He primed that and got that painted for me so that I didn't have to reach over my head. And I did do the walls, but I did it very gingerly. And I tried to use my left arm as much as I possibly could. I'm not left-handed, but that's the good thing about using a roller when you're painting. It's very forgiving. So I did use my left arm mostly and kind of just took it real easy with this arm. But the doctor was pleased today with the progress that I've made. He did go ahead and give me another cortisone shot, kind of right in the back, right over that shoulder blade area, kind of right in that muscle there, because he thinks that he has been able to narrow down through the x-rays that the pain may be radiating from my neck instead of the actual shoulder, even though the shoulder had had some issues with rotator cuff. The exercises here at home have been helping with that, and he thinks now the residual pain is like a nerve thing in my neck, maybe the way that I sleep or whatever. So he did go ahead and give me another cortisone shot, but I don't have to see him now for 2 months instead of 1 month. So that's positive. And when he did all the pressure checks, you know, can you push this way and push this way, and how you can lift and rotate your arm, I did very well on all those tests without pain this morning. So I just wanted to update you guys real quickly on that, because I do know that some of you were very concerned about my arm last week with all that painting, and you know that I still have more painting to do in that room because we've still got to get all the striping on the walls, and of course the zebra stripes need to go up on the accent wall. And then of course we still have a ton of work to do around our house, and I'll show you guys around one day and show you what all we have left. It's a very slow process right now because of course funds are just not there. So as we get a little bit of funds in where we can do another little bit of a project, then we do. So it's kind of a slow going now at this point, and there's still so much ahead of us, but I am doing great. And I do want to say thank you to those of you who actually remembered about my shoulder and who commented to me that you were concerned about me and praying for me. That meant a lot. It meant a lot to me that you guys would actually remember such an important detail from the vlogs. So thank you very, very much. That really did mean a lot. But as I was driving to the doctor this morning and coming home, I tried to think about what I really wanted to talk about in this week's Cocoa and Cookies, because I have so many different subjects and topics to run with, and several different things that you guys are interested in knowing about us and that you have commented to us. And I was really quite torn about it. I wanted to do a very special Cocoa and Cookies about some thoughts that I have with the upcoming holidays being upon us. And then I also wanted to do a Cocoa and Cookies kind of regarding the shirt. Let me stand up and see. Can you guys see? It says, "I love me." This is actually a sweatshirt that I had made several years back. I want to say maybe 2009. I had spoken at a conference, and I was doing the Conquering the Cinderella Complex that I mentioned to you guys the other day. I was teaching that at a one-day, all-day-long seminar with a couple different sessions that we were doing, and I wanted a shirt that would say basically the gist of the conference for the entire day. So it kind of looks a little ratty now. Some of the jewels have fallen off because it's so old, and I love this shirt. It's kind of become a knock-around shirt just around the house. But we had a lot of bling on there with some of the little bedazzled jewels that we bought from Walmart. I had made me one and my daughter one because she helps me in some of those conferences. And when we would wear this shirt out, like just running up to Walmart or walking through a mall or whatever, we got some of the funniest stares from people, almost like an audacity, like, how could you wear a shirt saying you love yourself? And it was really quite interesting, the reactions that we would get from these shirts. So I thought that I wanted to talk to you guys about that too. And I really still almost don't know which direction to go because I have so many things on my heart, and there's just not enough time in one Cocoa and Cookies to get it all out, and trying to wait from week to week seems like an eternity. But I definitely don't want to move these to more than once a week because that probably would get a little bit redundant, and you guys would probably get tired of that really, really quick. So I think that of these two subjects here today, probably the one that lays on my heart a little heavier is what I wanted to talk to you guys about the holiday season, because if you haven't noticed, the holidays are definitely already upon us. I think it starts around Labor Day every year. When the beginning of September hits, it's just like one thing after another begins just zooming by, and the fall and winter time of the year seems to just, it's like the fastest moving time of the year, or at least for us it is. You have one holiday right after another, starting with Labor Day, and then you move on into things like Halloween. For those who celebrate that, you have Thanksgiving, you have Veterans Day, you have Christmas that'll be coming up. So many other holidays throughout the month of December that people celebrate. Then you have the New Year that comes up the following week, and just like holiday after holiday after holiday. And most of the holidays are a fun time, a warming time, a time together with friends, a time together with family, and just a warm, cozy feeling kind of hits this time of year every year. But I do understand that for a great many people, it's really not like that at all. It's not warm, it's not fuzzy, it's not cozy. It's almost a dreaded time of year. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about today, because I do understand that there are many of you out there who are in a position this year, and maybe for the last several years, where you don't look forward to the holidays. There's a lot of stress, a lot of pressure. Christmas probably especially, because there's the pressure to keep up with the material side of the holidays, to buy that perfect gift or buy gifts for all these different people. Some of these people you don't even talk to throughout the whole rest of the year, yet when December comes you feel like you just got to get them a present. Or people that want to bless you with a gift, you feel like, oh, now I got to get them one in return, and then that's a stress, and just so many things that go along with it. With the economy being the way that it is right now, and a lot of people being out of work, or a lot of people that have had to take lesser jobs, maybe making less money, then that is an added stress, because of course the pressure of the material side of the holidays can be such that if you're not measuring up in that area, it makes you feel bad, it makes you feel disappointed. Sometimes your kids complain, they don't understand, and there's just so many pressures that can come with this time of year. Then I think about starting especially with Thanksgiving, because Thanksgiving is usually a time when families gather around the table to eat a big meal, to tell all that they're thankful for throughout the year, but some people don't have their family to be able to do that with, whether it's through loss, such as a death. It could be the experience of a divorce. It could be that you are still young. I know that some of you that watch this channel are still teenagers, and so you're in a situation where mom and dad aren't together this year, and it's like, okay, whose house am I going to? And if I go over here with dad, is mom going to be upset that I actually enjoy my holiday this year? And just so many stresses. Some of you have been through such bad past and abusive situations that you don't want anything to do with your family. Maybe some of you have family that don't want anything to do with you, maybe because of a life choice that you have made that they have disapproved of, for the good or for the bad. And it can just be a very stressful time. Many of you are aware that my husband is a law enforcement officer, and one of the things that we have noticed over the years since he has been in that profession is the number of suicides and suicide attempts that happen during this time of year. They get an unbelievable amount of calls, an increase in those type of calls during this time of year. People that just can't handle the stress of life during the holiday season, longing for that warm and cozy feeling with family that you love and you can gather around a tree with, or gather around a Thanksgiving table with, celebrate a brand new year with, and not having that. The loss maybe of a loved one that maybe you have all the rest of your family. I know for us this year, it's going to be a little bit weird, our first holiday season without my grandmother. Most of you are familiar with that story, and if you're not, you can watch the very first episode of Cocoa and Cookies where I talk about that just a little bit. And so I've already even been thinking ahead to that, you know, like Thanksgiving is going to seem weird without some of her signature dishes that she's made all these years, and just her not being there. And the same with Christmas. It's going to seem odd. It's going to seem strange. And in one way, you almost feel guilty to enjoy it. because you think, wow, you know, does that mean that I don't miss what we once had, whether it is divorce, death, separation, just the abusive thing that I talked about, whatever it is, it causes a death of a relationship in a way. And to move forward and to feel like you're still able to enjoy those parts of life can be, I wouldn't necessarily say confusing is the word, but can bring feelings of guilt. You know, like I should be sad because that means I must not miss what we had. I must not miss this person. I must not miss the relationship if I'm actually happy and celebrating. And so this time of year by far can be the most traumatic and stressful time for many, many people and for many different reasons. Maybe it's not the loss of anything. Maybe you have a great family relationship. Maybe you have a lot of close friends in your life and that's not the issue for you. Maybe it is more the finances and the material side of the holidays and not feeling like you can provide everything that you would like to. And to you guys, I just want to speak to you for a minute today and try to encourage you the best that I can and help you to relieve yourself of all that stress and responsibility and really remember what this season should be about. I think that in our Americanized culture especially, other places struggle with it too, but in other countries, they don't typically tend to struggle with the holidays quite the same as Americans do. And I think with the American dream and the way that we have Americanized things, and don't get me wrong, I am not bashing America in any way. I love our country. I am very patriotic. I love everything that this country has stood for and our freedoms and the way that we have been a help and a defense for people around the world. But with that, I do understand that the so-called American dream has somewhat derailed us from God's dream. And don't check out on me if you're not religious and think, oh, she's just fixing to get religious again. Stick with me for just a minute and let me just share my heart with you, because I believe that we were created by a master creator. And inside of us, he placed a dream. He placed visions. He placed goals. He placed purpose. And for a lot of us, we have been derailed from the dream that we were birthed to fulfill, because we have taken on other people's dreams. We've looked at other people's accomplishments and the goals in their life and what they're charging after, and it's almost as though we have forgotten our dream and adopted someone else's. And that can be a very dangerous thing, because in the midst of doing that, we can very easily lose ourselves and lose what's important to us and lose what we were born and created to do, especially this time of year. And I think that we just need to get to a place to where we can evaluate and be honest with ourselves. You know, what does this time of year really mean to me? If it really is supposed to be, let's just take Thanksgiving, since that's the next big one that's coming up. If it really is a time to focus on things that I am thankful for and grateful for, then why am I spending so much time and energy and effort and money trying to create this elaborate, huge feast with all this type of food that I'm going to spend days and days in the kitchen cooking and getting exhausted to be around a bunch of people that I might not even like the rest of the year? And ask yourself, why? Why are you doing that? If you are cooking and experiencing all that because it's fun for you, and maybe you're cooking in the kitchen with several of your family members and it's just a great, relaxing, fun time for you, then by all means, that is what you should do. But if it is a drudgery, just because you feel like you have to meet some kind of expectation or some kind of tradition that really doesn't mean anything deep in your heart, then it might be time to just stop, step back, and evaluate that. Have a more simple meal. Cook maybe your favorite meal that your family loves throughout the year and have that. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to go get this 20-pound turkey and spend hours baking that thing to get it nice and juicy for you to consume. You know, you don't have to have the traditional stuffings and mashed potatoes or sweet potato souffles and all the stuff that we like to have. Maybe for you, your family just likes a simple corn on the cob or something of those natures. If the goal is to spend time with the people that you love and care about, then alleviate some of that stress and make it more simple to where you really can focus on what truly matters. I believe that it is the same way with Christmas time. As a matter of fact, my family and I watched a little Christmas movie last night that we borrowed from my parents this weekend, and we brought it home, and I forget the title of it. It's something about Christmas on $1 or the $1 Christmas or something along that line. And it was about a family who had been in hard times. They had lost their mom the year before, and the dad was just really struggling to trying to make ends meet, and he didn't have much, and it looked as though this family would not have any Christmas at all. They had $1 that they were going to be able to split between the entire family, and if I remember right, there were 4 kids. I think there were 4 kids, maybe 5, and of course Dad. And so that dollar didn't seem like it was going to go very far. Now granted, this was set like I think in the 30s, the late 20s, early 30s, so it would be more of a value than what $1 is today, but it still wasn't very much. So we watched the story unfold and what this family was able to do with that simple little dollar. And the gifts that they gave to each other had nothing to do with a monetary, materialistic value at all. But it was a way that they became creative from their heart to do very special things for each other, things that were so much more meaningful. And it was the most simple of Christmases. It was the least expensive of Christmases, and the best Christmas that that family had had, even through the tragedy of losing their mom. And that just got me thinking all over again that, you know, this time of year we put so much stress on the perfect gift, the most expensive gift, who can outdo who can buy the best gift, who can buy the perfect gift. And there's nothing wrong with gifts. Trust me, the Bible even says it's more blessed to give than to receive. I love to bless people with gifts. I love to bless my kids with gifts and the people that are around me that I love. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But it does become wrong if that becomes the focus to the point that it is stealing your peace and your joy during this holiday season. So I just wanted to remind you guys of that, and I know like I'm not some super special person to say this, so I hope you guys receive this the way that I'm fixing to mean it. But from my heart to yours, I wanted to give you guys permission. Some of you need to hear somebody tell you that it is okay to have a more simplistic time during this time of year, to focus on the things that really matter, to search inwardly and to find those things that you still can be thankful for. If you're having trouble with that, go back and watch episode 1 of Cocoa and Cookies, because we talked about that a little bit. To find the joy and the pleasure, to focus on, you know, for those of us who are Christians, and I know not all of you are, and there is no condemnation from me for whatever you have chosen to follow in your life. But for those of us who are Christians, this time of year is really about our Savior, Jesus Christ, and the gratitude that we have for the sacrifice that He made, that we could actually enjoy our life, that we could be forgiven of so many rotten things that we've done, that we can have joy and hope and peace, and that we can have hope for a great future and an eternity in heaven one day. And sometimes just to realign our focus, to get back on that thing, is what it takes to make this holiday season a joyful one. For those of you that have suffered great loss, like my family and I have this year, we can either sit back and we can, I don't really know how to say this the best way to not be offensive, because I hope that all of you know my heart by now. It's not to offend anybody at all. But one thing that I've learned about grief through this process, and I do have a video on that as well, talking about the grief that I suffered after losing her, if we're not careful, we can let ourselves slip into a state of self-pity, feeling sorry for ourselves because of the tragedy that we suffered. We can allow ourselves to slip into a position to where a grieving spirit comes upon us and steals all joy. And in all honesty, one thing that I've learned about grieving through this process, as well as through the miscarriage that I had suffered that I've shared with you guys briefly, is that grief, if we're not careful, if we don't move through the proper stages of grief in a timely manner, if we allow ourselves to get stuck in any of those stages at all, it can become a very overwhelming, it can become a self-consuming, a self-absorbed, and selfish place to be. Because let's face it, like with me, I know that my grandma is in a much better place, and this Christmas is going to be the best Christmas she's ever had. You know, she's back with my granddad, she's back with my uncle who died whenever he was in his 40s, she's back with some of her siblings who had gone on before her, and you know, her parents that had passed on, and so many people that she is back with, that she is celebrating and having a great time, and she's not grieving over losing us for this momentary time, because we'll be reunited one day. We're going to see her again. And if I can allow myself to focus on that, then that gives me permission to enjoy this holiday season. Am I going to miss her? Yes, I'm going to miss her terribly. I wish that she was going to be sitting there in the family pictures with us this year and opening her a gift. And you know, as we've been out shopping a little bit recently, we've come upon a few items that we knew she would love. And it's like, oh man, I can't get that for her this year because she's not here to enjoy it. And it would be really easy for me to slip back down into that depressive state and allow grief to overwhelm me and overtake me if I let it. And it really can be a choice. It really can. So I want to encourage you guys today, if you have found yourself in this place, you know, what's done is done. If you've gone through a divorce, there's not probably a lot you can do about it right now. If there's something that you can do to reconcile and to bridge a relationship, then by all means, do everything that you can do. But there are some situations and circumstances that are totally out of your control. You may have a broken family relationship with members of your family. Either they won't have anything to do with you, or maybe you've had to cut connection because of situations in your past. There's not much you can do about those. So you have a choice. You can either sulk about that, you can continue to grieve about that, or you can simply accept the reality that this is just what life is for this point in time, but I'm going to choose to be happy anyway. And trust me, when you can learn to do that, you are going to alleviate a lot of stress off of you. Because I hate it whenever I hear people talk about that they hate this time of year because of the stresses and the pressures and the loss and the grieving, and it makes me sad, because I know that it can still be a great time of year even if you've gone through that. You know, you guys know what my family have been through, or you at least know a little bit with our situation with our house, and for us, finances are really tight. They were last year. Matter of fact, last year we didn't even get to put up our big tree because everything was torn down and there was reconstruction going on, so we had to buy a smaller tree, and we had to put it back in the back bedroom that we had turned into a little living room, and we had to use some temporary, just really cheap decorations. But it was a great holiday, and the kids told me later how much they appreciated it and how much they appreciated us making the best of a bad situation. And I believe that it created memories that will last with all of us for a lifetime. So you have to choose to look at things differently during this time of year. Don't allow grief to overwhelm you. Please, by all means, if you have been thinking of harming yourself in any way, because like I've already mentioned, suicides go up this time of year, and I want to prevent that from happening to some of you. And I know that there are some of you that are probably contemplating it, or the thought has at least crossed your mind, because I feel very strongly that this is what I was supposed to share with you today. And God is trying to get a message to you that He loves you and that even though your life may have faced some really hard circumstances and maybe you have really been through some junk, I mean some junk, God still loves you. He has a purpose for you, and He has sent me today to tell you that. So if you have been praying and asking Him for some kind of sign that He is real, that He exists, and that He cares about you, this is your answer today. And He wants you to go on and have a great holiday season. I want all of you guys to have a fantastic holiday season. Make some new traditions. Let go of ones that stress you out, that just, you know, they're just traditions that you do every year because you've always done it, but you don't even know why you do it, and you just don't even like to do it. Let those kind of traditions go and create some new ones. Ones that are fun from you, that come from your heart, that just bubble up, that can create new meaning for you and your kids, or you and your older parents, if that's what you have, or whatever the situation may be, however your family is comprised, whatever friends are close to you, create something this year that is going to be super special. And by all means, focus on the real reason behind the season. There is so much to be thankful for, not just this time of year, but all year long. And there is so much to celebrate. So, I don't know, maybe that can help a few of you guys. I hope that it does. It's really been on my heart a lot, because I know that there are so many hurting people this time of year, and it's hard for them when they see people around them excited about the holidays and posting, and you know, they sit back and think, wow, I wish I had a family like that, or I wish I had this to do, or you've got to create that for yourself. So let this be the year that you get up and do something different about your situation. Don't sit back in misery and in self-pity and watching the greatness around you. Get up and create that greatness. Join in and be a part of that greatness. And if you need help on how to do that, by all means, email me and let's talk about it. Comment down below and let's get this conversation rolling. There may be many people watching this that can help you, that can hear your heart, hear your thoughts, understand your struggle, and tell you how they've overcome it and how they've walked out of it. And that's what we're here for. We are here as community to help each other, to love each other, and to get each other through the hard times in life. So please don't be afraid to share with us down below. And let's talk about it. Let's help each other. So join that conversation. But I think I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go. I have kept you guys a long time today. This might be our longest one yet. People who know me know that I can get very long-winded and keep you a long time. So hopefully some of you have stuck around to the end. And hopefully it's meant something to you. I believe that it has. I believe that it has touched some of you because God had a special message for you. But I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go. I'm going to finish my hot cocoa, which is now about lukewarm. It's definitely not hot anymore. And I think I'm finally going to get to take a bite of this delicious white chocolate chunk cookie. I want to thank you guys for joining me for this episode of Cocoa and Cookies. We will see you next week.